All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So it's been reported that Garrett Wilson has looked phenomenal through Jets training camp so far. And of course, all things considered, we haven't really seen a bunch of padded practices. But look, let's be real here. Garrett Wilson is one of the best young wide receivers in football. He has two seasons to really prove that, all things considered. To have back-to-back 1,000+ receiving yard seasons with the mess at quarterback, with the mess of an offensive line situation, with horrible play calls and a horrible game planner, and frankly an offense that continues to turn the football over or just simply go 3 and out. Hopefully that's not the case this season, but all of this stuff that Garrett Wilson has had to deal with, and yet he's still producing as one of the best young wide receivers in football. Think about that for a second. Think about how valuable that is for an offense. Then you factor in what he can do on the field as far as, how to attack a defense. Deep down the field, short passing game, intermediate, off of play action, can work the sidelines really, really well. You can line him up in the slot. I mean, he's just such an explosive, dynamic player that I really wanted to kind of just dive in and make a whole video about him, because we have some stuff coming out about Garrett Wilson, comments from teammates, comments from reporters, and just kind of recap the entire thing. So again, Garrett Wilson has been quote unquote in a different zone this training camp. I mean, the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers is there. It's crystal clear, right? It really feels as though when Rodgers is out there with Garrett Wilson, they seem to find each other. Outside of the first day, I guess supposedly the first day was a little clunky, a little rocky, but hey, it is what it is. It's the first day of a new year. Plus, with Aaron Rodgers missing the entirety of last season, you expect there to be some rust. But again, in team drills, they look great. Now, we can talk about Rodgers' comments about Garrett. I mean, he just raves about Wilson every chance he gets. He doesn't necessarily directly compare him to the 17 in Las Vegas, right, Davante Adams, but he does bring him up quite a lot in regards to just how dynamic, how much of a hard worker Davante was back with Green Bay with Rodgers. And kind of talks about how Garrett has that same approach. Like, he really wants to win. He really wants to be great. He really wants to go out and dominate. And, that's really what makes like elite level players. Look at the elite players in the game now. Look at the elite players in the game 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's all the guys that worked really, really hard, plus talent, plus the desire to be great. It's that trifecta, and it really feels as though Garrett Wilson has all three, which is such a great feeling, right, as a Jet fan, because we all know what this guy's potential was. I mean, every team loved him back coming out of college. He was a top 10 pick for a reason. But I mean, even we can kind of dive into like some of the defense's comments, right? Like DJ Reed has had to go up against Garrett Wilson a lot so far through training camp, and he has had a very, very difficult time. I think according to Nick Faria, he said that at one point during one of the practices, it looked like Garrett Wilson was just toying with DJ Reed, and he was still having success. And we all know DJ Reed to be one of the better corners in football. So, I mean, it's just all positive stuff. But the thing that I really wanted to go over here was an article that was made by Rich Cimini a couple days ago, where he went into detail about Garrett Wilson's offseason and how he went back on his own time, right? This isn't, stuff that's happening today and yesterday. But during the offseason, he went back and watched old Green Bay Packers film and kind of studied how defenses were trying to throw Rodgers off of his game, how were defensive coordinators attacking Aaron Rodgers to try to get a better feel on what to expect this season in 2024. I mean, talk about, somebody who... Because look, if you have the talent, you don't necessarily have to do that to have success, right? If you have the talent, if you already have the hard work ethic, and every single day you step onto the practice field, from the minute you're there to the minute you're going to leave, you're going to be giving it 100%. In most cases, that's enough, right, for guys to have success at the professional level. But to go this far, to go back and watch old Packers film, I mean, that to me is... I mean, it's fantastic. It gets me so fired up as a Jet fan, knowing just how sluggish and how downright embarrassing the offense has been. I don't want to say my entire life, but for the majority of my years watching Jets football, it's always been about the defense, which I'm not necessarily complaining about because I'm a defensive first type of guy. I love defensive football, but I really feel as though, most of these seasons just come down to the offense not doing enough, not pulling their weight, whether it's turnovers, whether it's punts, whether it's quarterback issues, whether it's injuries or O-line or play caller, head coach, whatever. It just seems like there's always quarterback development has been a big one throughout the years. So you always kind of feel as though it's like the offense, it's like, come on, when are we going to get there? But to have, again, to handpick a top wide receiver coming out of the draft in the top 10 who has the explosive ability, has all the physical tools, has the work ethic, great in press conferences, great in interviews, great teammate, great leader, forming the bonds and whatnot with his teammates, pretty much every single year. Nobody ever complains about Garrett Wilson being a bad teammate or what have you, or lazy or anything like that. And then you take it a step further and you find out in the offseason he's doing like obscure digging on the former Packer offense and how these defenses are trying to attack his new quarterback. That's sweet, man. That should get you fired up as a Jet fan. Not many players do that. They might have 2 out of the 3, right? Awesome traits, but I think it's rare to see a guy like this young, with all this stuff going for him, but still taking the initiative, still trying to take that step forward of wanting to maximize everything, right? Leaving no stone unturned, dotting his I's, crossing his T's. I want to be prepared. That's sweet, man. It's totally sweet. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.